So the watch that I'm showing you today is probably a watch you've never seen before. This is a Bancor vintage mechanical watch. The reason why I'm showing you this watch today is that one, you've probably never seen it before, but two, there is quite a bit of significance and of kind of a backstory behind this watch. So Bancor is, as far as I know, it's a bankrupt company. I think it's a thing of the past, I believe. So they don't sell them anymore, but they are a Swiss watch brand. And this watch belonged to my grandfather. And my grandfather is Chinese. You can see some Chinese writing on this bracelet here. So he's Chinese, and back in between the 1940s to 1980s, when the Communist Party took over, they kind of put a block, or kind of a block on any imports. So pretty much everything between that time period, everything was domestically made. Not many things were imported, but of course my grandfather had this watch. So what my dad and I believe is that this watch, my grandfather purchased it before the Communist Party took over. So that would be probably the late 1930s or early 1940s is when my grandfather got this watch. And it's survived up to this time. Now, of course, it hasn't survived in perfect condition. You can see here that there is a circular crack around the crystal. Thankfully, it's smooth, so it's almost like an internal crack. But yes, that crystal is damaged, and it will be difficult to find a replacement crystal for this watch. Of course, there's some patina. This watch was probably like a cream to white dial, but now it's kind of a nice brown color to it. I think it looks good though. And you can see the hands, indices. I don't think it ever had lume, or maybe it did and it just fell off or degraded. And yeah, just the design of the watch is quite a vintage style, which makes sense because it's an old watch. And actually you can see at the 6 o'clock, yeah, you can see that it is Swiss. And the crystal is domed, which again is quite a vintage style for a watch. The sizing in general is quite small, as with most vintage watches. You can see it looks pretty small even for my wrist. And the crown is missing. A small backstory, my dad would see his dad, my grandfather, wear this watch a lot actually. And apparently this crown would just keep breaking after a few years, which kind of makes sense because this is a mechanical hand winding watch. There's no rotor. So because my grandfather wore so much, I guess the crown wore off or got broken pretty easily. So apparently my grandpa had to change the crown a few times, and then I guess it reached to a point where he thought it just wasn't worth replacing. So that will also need to be fixed. Quick look at the back here. There's really nothing here, just a solid stainless steel backing. The bracelet is not original. This is a replacement, as you can tell by that Chinese writing, and it's actually quite dirty. If I open it just a little bit, you'll see there's a lot of dirt, which is kind of gross. I think that's just dirt and grime from when my grandfather wore it for so many years. So overall, it's showing its signs of age, but at least I think it's recoverable. It is fixable. Now, like I said, fixing a watch like this will be tricky. Bancor is a defunct company. It's not very popular, and it's an old watch. And there are a few parts that need to be replaced. The crystal, the crown. I don't know what's going on with the internals because again, I can't wind the watch. So I don't know if the balance wheel, the mainspring, any of the gears could be rusted by now. Hopefully it's been sealed properly and there's no water damage or moisture getting in, but we will see. So for part 2 of this video, I'll release the whole video once we get this repaired. So we'll probably jump by a few months, but then we'll see what it looks like after. All right, so 5 months later, this is what the watch looks like now. You can see it has a brand new crystal. It also has a brand new crown. And so when I was trying to get this watch fixed, I did take it to some local watchmakers, but they were quoting prices around $300 to $400. But I got this one repaired for about $50, which is a lot more reasonable. So you can see here, you still have that bubble, that dome crystal, which is a very a vintage style look. So it fits perfectly. I don't know if this is a Bancor crystal, but honestly, I don't really care. As long as the crystal fits the watch, I'm more than happy. Same thing with the crown. This is definitely not a Bancor crown. This is probably some generic crown. But again, I don't really care. At least the watch is ticking. You can see that the watch is ticking smoothly, which is nice. The winding is smooth. It feels nice. Again, the winding is pretty loud. And the power reserve, I think it runs at least for a day. So I'm going to guess the power reserve is probably somewhere between 30 to 40 hours, which is pretty typical for a watch. And it's really impressive for a watch this old. Now, when we flip to the back, You can see again, like with the watch being serviced, the main thing that was changed was the crystal and the crown. Everything else is the same. I don't even know if it got cleaned because it looks pretty much the same. But I was told by my dad that this back might not be actually stainless steel. It might be made of some other material, but there is no noticeable rusting. I mean, there's some patterns here that I can't seem to scratch off, but there's no rust. The lugs do look like they might fall off at some point because you can see it's really dark around the edge right there. But so far it's holding off pretty nicely. And yeah, with that crystal now in pristine condition, you can really see the patina on the watch. It's really nice here. You can really see how well the watch has aged, which I really appreciate. Now the strap that this watch is on, it's nothing special, just a genuine leather strap, 18 millimeters. You know, nothing crazy. I don't think I'll ever find a Bancor bracelet or a Bancor leather strap, but that's okay. Let's get this on the wrist and I'll show you what it's like. Again, this is an old watch. Oh, and another update. I think in the first part of this video, I said that this watch was probably from the late 30s, early 40s. But my dad told me this is probably around the late 40s, mid to late 40s, but still very old watch. You can see that with my 6-inch wrist, because my wrist is so small, it actually doesn't seem too bad. But definitely if you have, 6.5 and above size wrist, it will seem a bit on the small side because it is a vintage watch. But for a 6-inch wrist like mine, it fits pretty nice. So that's about it. I just want to show off the Bancor watch. Again, I only saw a few articles about this. There's a few people selling this online, but overall it's pretty unknown. So now you can see the Bancor watch, you can see the history behind it. And yeah, with that, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more videos. And as always, I will see you guys next time.